How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, all cops are bastards, and trans rights supporting channel. If you're not supporting that shit, get the fuck off this channel. This is Squid Game Season 1, Episode 5 of Fair World. I assume as in, there's going to be talk about in a fair world this and a fair world that, but we don't live in a fair world. That's really as much of a guess as I can give. It's very, very broad. Other than that, no, I mean, like, we're finishing the game. Are we going to go into another game? Or is it going to be all in-between game stuff again? I think we are already 3 games in, and it's episode 5. We got to go through 6 and 9 episodes, so I think this is going to be the ending of this game, and then either the start or a whole nother game as well. That's my guess. What else can we do in between the games? I don't know, but last game I also thought, how are we going to have a whole episode that's in between the 2 games? And that's kind of what we got. And, again, I was very, very surprised. I could not imagine what it could be, and then we got so much more than I would have ever guessed, but I loved. So, again, I can't imagine how we're going to have a shitload of in between the game stuff, but this show has been incredibly good at giving a lot of the in-between and downtime stuff that I love. If you want to get the full length, go check it out on the Patreon below for $4 a month. If you want to see early access, you can also get that on the Patreon. It's multiple episodes ahead. Again, they're all synced up as well. There's no syncing up required. It's the same as you're watching on YouTube here with the picture in the picture. That's how it is on the Patreon. You don't have to sync it up. So go get full length. Go get early access. Go check out that shit, because this show is fucking good and it's worth it. Here we go. Let's jump in. Okay, so we got a lot of answers to stuff that I had already assumed, but let's go through what we learned. Definitely is organ harvesting, for sure. We got that whole clarification. Was organ harvesting. The doctor is killed off, so he's not going to be continuing. I really thought he was going to be, one towards the end, but no, he's gone. So now Deoksu's whole group is going to be really floundering. I bet he's going to be extremely disappointed that he got rid of. Oh, we got her name in this episode. Didn't write it down in this episode. Let me grab that really quick. Han Mineo. He's going to be extremely disappointed that he kicked her out, I feel like. Because, to be fair, she's terrible on our team, but she would be really perfect on his team. But yeah, she is just the person who stirs shit constantly. Even on his own group. Even on Deoksu's group, she was stirring so much shit. She was really trying. I didn't know what she was getting at, because she was really, just messing shit up in a way where she just stayed silent and just let herself be a part of the group, it might not have went so bad. But she was really, really trying to force her way in there, and Dio could obviously tell. So, he shut that shit down. As well, they're really building up to be him to be a terrible, terrible villain. I thought the Doctor was going to be an even worse villain. I thought he was going to be our main big bad at the end, even more so than Deoksu, but no. That was actually a bit of a pulled the rug out from under me. Really thought the Doctor was going to be our worst guy here. But no, not the case. Again, the police officer is learning a lot. This is the first time we feel like he's learning information that is very valuable to us as an audience. In terms of, learning more. That whole end sequence gave us a lot of information. But up till that point, it was very interesting what we were learning. But I'm not sure how much it was, I'm not sure how much it could help both taking down the organization. Oh, sorry, I keep burping. I mean, I haven't eaten all day, so I don't know why I'm burping, but I figured he would have some information that would help take down the place, but he didn't have any information that would help take down the place, nor would it help us as an audience understand the situation any better, in terms of the games or an overarching why they're doing all this sort of thing. All we learn is just more minutia of how the organization works and does things, which is fantastic, and I love that, but it's not helpful information. Versus now, at the end of this episode, we've gotten a lot of helpful information. This is not the first time they've done this. They've done this many, 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 many times. Not hundreds of times. Once a year they do it, it seems like. But I'm not sure, because those boxes could have been multiple times in a year as well. It's hard to say exactly what that was, because I can't read Korean, so I don't know what they said. And the only translation we got was, Jihyun is a chauffeur, which we already knew. But yeah, that could have been other months. Again, I don't know. But yeah, they've done this many, many, many multiple times. Are they just really sloppy, or are they like also like Squid Game is definitely the name of the company, right? Or what is it? Squid Archives is what they were called. So like the company is called Squid, but I'm not sure if they're called Squid Game. But either way, and each of the things was like in 2014, Squid Archives A12. Was that like? I mean, it can't be annual 12, so just Archive 12, Archive 13, Archive 14, but it's all 2014. Again, and the books seem like they have everybody, so I don't know. It could have been multiple times a month. There's also, never mind, there's books on the VIPs there. There's books, I really wish I could read Korean, but some interesting things going on there. Again, I don't think that they're sloppy. I'm gonna guess that that's not what it is. Not that they're sloppy. It is just that for some reason, nobody has ever tried to do any of this stuff before. How has nobody ever tried to tail them? How has nobody ever tried to just do this when they get in the van again? Like, those are so simple of things that you'd be like, how has nobody done this before? But that is, if there's one thing that's consistent across all death games, it is the question, how has nobody ever done this before? That is definitely the number one question that you're always asking during a death game. And there's no concrete answer. There's no real answer. The answer is just, just go with it. But like, you know, I this one I thought was going to have more of a concrete answer, but it seems like it's just going to have to be just go with it. Nobody's ever done this shit before. Okay, fair enough. Whatever, sure. This, for some reason, is the first time this is happening. So we get some more humanization, quote-unquote, of the pink suits, but in that we also get the dehumanization of them as well, where it's like, we get to see their faces and everything like that, but then we learn more about what they're doing so much bad shit aside from just being soldiers in this, that, like, you hate them even more. And it was those particular ones, but I'm sure that the rest of them also are in very similar positions to where, you know, they would be abusing and raping and killing and doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do if they weren't following these very, very strict guidelines and everything. I mean, even then, they already have such a fucked up hierarchical, you know, organization already that you can see that. As well as, like, again, the front man's line of, like, we're trying to give them a fair world to play. Like, they're so used to an unfair world where they're discriminated against and harassed and that we're giving them a fair world where they can play a game where everybody is the same and blah, 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 and you've ruined that with the doctor, but it's like, even if the front man believes that, the person running the whole organization definitely does not believe that. Because, like, one, they said to themselves that they purposely gave them less food so that way they could fight and then the stronger ones would kill off the weaker ones and stuff like that. Like, this is very clearly not a fair game that you're trying to do. So why are you acting like that? And if you want to say, well, they did have the exact amount of food and it was just the players who fucked that up, then why did they say that they gave them less amount of food than they had? Like, that was a lie, yes, but they believe that to be true. So if they believe that to be true, then it can't be fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether the front man may straight up believe it. Like, he may just be crazy, he may believe it, but the person running the whole thing definitely does not. The VIPs, like, who are the VIPs? Frontman is definitely the leader, but there are other VIPs here on the island, apparently, because they have to escape as well. And I don't think the other VIPs are just the square masks. I don't think that's the case. Could be, but I doubt it. Because they're two, like, in the front lines as well. We don't know what our next game is, and that's terrifying, because why don't we know what it is? The thing that I immediately think is they're going to go out there, and they're going to, like, spin a wheel, and whatever the wheel lands on, they play. And it's not a, like, area they've set up, it is just a, like, completely separate thing. Now, it is interesting that the first one was red light, green light, we're playing it like it's on a field and everything like that, and I would say that the arena was not as, like, authentic to, like, what it would look like as a kid as, like, the second game was with the honeycomb. That one was an excellent stage. Love that one. But yeah, those two are both made up to look like you were playing them as a kid. Then we, like, even with the giant thing, like, with the playground as well, like, the playground was giant as well. They're trying to make everything a little bit bigger, because then them as adults feel like they're kids again, when it's all, like, proportional. Even though it's not proportional in the slightest bit, but, you know, that's the idea. It's, like, wacko proportions. But now our third game, the tug of rope thing, not at all like a children's game whatsoever in the slightest. The arena doesn't look like it. The way that they're doing tug of war doesn't look like it at all. Like the act of tug of war, sure, but the arena and the way it is played is so entirely different that I can't guess what the next game is going to be. Because it's not like, well, it's got to be an arena that looks like a kid place, or it's got to be the way you play it is just like a kid. Like it's none of that. So, like we've already broken that rule already. So, what's the next one going to be? Unclear. I'm guessing it's just going to be a roulette wheel, and I don't have to worry. Like again, I was starting to think like, well, what? How does it a roulette wheel? How do you do that for like it being children's games and it being a whole area that you have to set up? But the other, like the jump rope area, could have been spun and it came up jump rope, and they would have had to just wheel in that whole like crane, or like, you know, with a crane probably they would have to wheel it in, but like they could have just brought in the two towers with the, you know, guillotine on it. Like there was nothing else to the room that had anything to do with that. Like it was just a big empty room and then those things. So I don't think they are built there. They're probably mobile. So you know, they could have just been wheeled in. So that's sort of what I'm expecting. Like if I'm not held concrete to a specific room theme and everything like that it has to be built ahead of time, especially because I was assuming they've been building these up for each game, but no, it seems like this stuff might just already be built because that room still existed. The playground room still was there. That's very interesting. I've never seen a death game where you're going back, like you can enter a room that is a previous death game. Like that's fascinating. That's a whole aspect to it I've never seen before. So that's really cool. It feels like a video game. Which is definitely what they're going for here. But yeah, I'm guessing it's just going to be, my guess has to be it's going to just be another big warehouse room that's kind of empty, and they're going to wheel in a roulette wheel, and you spin the roulette wheel, or not a roulette wheel, but you know, like a Price is Right wheel, and then whatever it lands on, they do. And that's why they can't tell them what the game is yet, unless Frontman wasn't telling them what the game was, or whoever tells them what the game is, like whoever comes up with that. What they weren't being told what that was. One, that means there's no prep for it, like the jump rope thing. If there was prep for it, they would have had to have done that. But the Frontman might not have told them, or again, whoever, I'm just saying Frontman because it's easier, didn't tell them the game because he believed already that somebody was fucking with the game, and he wanted to stop that, so he didn't want to, you know, he wanted it to go off badly. He didn't want it to go off without a hitch. He wanted their plans to get messed up so then he could figure out what was going on specifically. Again, the fact that they... The whole system has to been, like, built with the way that the casket, once you put it in the thing and it falls down, they have a whole room set up for this thing, which could be something else. Fair enough, that's whatever. The fact that they have you hit the button twice and it loops the footage, the fact that they have the gas tanks and stuff, the fact that they, like, clearly someone is helping them with this very high up, whether it just be one of the squares and they have more leeway, or VIPs are helping them. Now, using the VIP getaway to get out makes sense, whatever, that's probably, you know, just been a thing by itself. But, like, there was also the line, he's like, oh, I'm grateful for the VIPs for allowing us to be able to do this, and he meant that in a haha ironical sense, but maybe that's still true. Maybe some of the VIPs do help them out with this stuff. You know, it would, as he said, it would require a lot of money for, like, like, I don't think I'm turning back on myself. I don't think he was saying it in an ironical manner, because he was talking about the gas tanks and everything like that. Like, in order to buy all that, you would need some VIP to be helping you. So clearly, they do have, one of the VIPs is helping them with the organ harvesting and all that. And, like, the fact that we set up, like, yeah, the front man doesn't care at all about the organ harvesting. He's totally fine with that. It's just the fact that you are making one of the players have an advantage that he dislikes. So, that's very interesting. We also have our old man deteriorating. He is losing his memories. He is not able to control his bowels. Just not a great situation to be in, you know. Both in, like, having his health failing during this game is obviously terrible, but then also just by nature of, like, having him on the team is terrible. As much as I hate to say that, it's true, you know. So I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, in the same way, how much more of a liability is he compared to like Mineo? Like Mineo is definitely going to be the biggest liability we have. And again, you can't cut the lion, you can't rip the lion in half. You gotta keep the lion together. The team has got to stay together. As much as this team is weighing us down and terrible, and they all want to kill and murder and be the worst people ever, we can't just get rid of them like that. We have to stay strong. We got a little bit more of Jihyun too. He was, a part of a strike with a car company that he worked at for a decade. His friend / coworker got killed there. Clearly, already he used to be very, very anti-authoritarian. Then his friend or coworker, I mean, probably both, got killed. And then he's like, well, you know what? I'm not going to try and rock the boat anymore. I don't want to die. That was traumatic enough as it was. And he, even with a whole essentially team of people, an army of people that were holding off on a barricade and all that, it didn't matter how in the right they were. They just had the pigs come in and bust some skulls, and it all went bad. And so it doesn't matter how much of a barricade you build, it doesn't matter how much people are on your side, how much you trust, how much you are in the right. It doesn't matter in the end when they have force, when they have strength, when they have, the upper hand, essentially. When they have that authority over you, it doesn't matter. You're done for. You're toast. And so he just tried to lay low. And I mean, going back to the beginning of the series, he's so passive. He's so just like, whatever, I'm living my life like this. He's already seen the world. He's not entitled. Like, that's kind of what we were building up for a while. But then now we're getting that big, like, no, he's not really entitled. He kind of got into that position because he saw how the world is, saw how the world works, and realized, like, he personally is like, I'm not going to fight this, And there's not a lot... I'm not going to have any, like, negative feelings towards somebody who has seen how bad the world is and been like, I'm not going to fight for it. I am discriminated against myself plenty. I don't need to fight for it. It's not my fight. I'm not going to be a part of this. And, like, we need as many people in the fight as we can get, but at the same time, I'm not going to, shame somebody for being like, listen, I'm done. He did his part. He already did a big part. He did a huge strike that was in the news and seems to be like the biggest strike in recent memory for like that was only 10 years ago, but still, like, the fact the old guy remembered that as being like this huge thing and everything like that seems like it was pretty monumental. So he did his thing. He's out. You don't need to be constantly fighting. You just need to do your part. And so, like, again, going back to the beginning of the series, he is so passive now. He's so just like, I'm just going to, get by in the way that I know I'm going to get by. Getting a career, doing all that, working a fair job. What's it going to get me? It's going to get me fired because the company isn't making enough money, and then I'm out of a job even though I've been working here for 10 years, and none of that experience is going to help me, and, everything's going wrong. So, like, why the fuck would you get another career? Like, why would you work a job? So, of course, you would just try and get your money off of loans and off of paying that off with gambling and all this other shit that's like, yeah, I get it. And, like, he's looking at, like, Sungwoo is like, damn, this guy went to university and got a whole job and that. But at the same time, it still wasn't enough money for him. And was that because he was in debt and he was siphoning off the money trying to pay that off? Or was that just because he was a shitty-ass person and he was siphoning off the money and then putting it into, stocks and whatever until it all collapsed and then now he owes billions in debt? It seems like there's got to be more to have put him in billions of debt, but we will see. But yeah, the fact that Jihyun was like so like he's constantly hyping up. It's like he's my friend who went to university. He knows everything. And then meanwhile, he's in the same situation that you're in, dude. Like again, so much of a metaphor of like, now this person went to college. They know what they're doing. They've got their life together. Meanwhile, a lot of times people who went to college in far, far more debt than the people who didn't. Because then you got the college debt, you got the student debt, you got all that shit on top of it all. And so like, yeah, I could definitely, I mean, that's a huge metaphor for that in real life, but also like the fact that Jihyun is looking up to him makes so much sense with like, he's thinking like, well, I had to have done something right. It's been 10 years. He's come around to the idea like, I have to have done something wrong. It's not that I hate careers, that I hate jobs, but that I can't get a career or a job because of where I am now. Like, even if I'm working there for 10 years, it's not going to matter because I don't have a college degree. But look at your friend, buddy. Look at that. We have, also on the team, we have the immigrant who's come over, tried to make money, and just absolutely impossible. The only way that you are able to make money in this world, when, like, especially, in that sort of situation, a lot of times you got to break bad. I mean, like, that's the whole GTA franchise is about. And so, like, we also have the old man, an elderly person in here who's, like, seems to have lived his life the best way he possibly could and is, like, a great dude. Nothing wrong about him. Nothing like, he's got this shitty thing from the old generation or whatever. He seems great. He's actually, like, lived a life in which he should be able to just relax and enjoy his last years, but that ain't how it fucking works. No, it ain't. He, as he said, I think the main thing is, like, he really loved his children, and, like, maybe he's got grandchildren, but he loved his children, and his children couldn't give a fuck about him now. And, like, his children are probably the ones that are, like, the real, like, they're in debt, they've got blah, blah, blah going on, they've got whatever, but I do think he might be trying to pay off his kid's debt. I mean, that's the classic thing you do with an old man in a death game sort of thing. But I feel like the fact that we're not saying that makes me believe even more that's what he's doing. Because he's just such a good dude. But yeah, we've got all spectrums all over the place in this. I mean, we got the North Korean girl, which is not a, like, thing that I'm very familiar with, so I'm glad that we're having that in here. Like, one, just because, U.S. propaganda is very, very anti-North Korea in general. So, even somebody escaping would be, looked down upon probably in America because America's fucking crazy and nuts. But, I'm glad that we're getting that kind of storyline as well here, and she's also part of the group. It's something that I haven't seen in media, and I'm glad I am. It's a story that needs to be told. We need more of it. But that is fantastic as well. And we got some other people here who might have their own stories. We got the super religious guy who then immediately was like, well, my hands are bloody. Time to murder more. Time to genocide. I mean, he's not genociding or anything, He's so like, let's just kill teams of people. Just multiple swaths of people we're going to kill. Not even like, no, we're in this death game. We have to kill these people. Not even like that sort of thing. Just at night, let's murder multiple people. Tens of people. Jesus, dude. Not much hope for that guy. But yeah, nose piercing girl, extremely jaded, probably has something terrible happened to her in life, I'm sure. And then, yeah, we got, like, other people who are way, like, the Daeksu or the doctor were absolute shitbags. Like, that's not, like, a story that's, like, oh, you feel for them. It's just a very interesting story going on with the, like, ex-debt collector sort of guy, the ex-loan shark sort of thing, and then you have the shitty malpractice doctor as well. Like, yeah, you got a lot of situations going on here, good or bad. But yeah, I'm fascinated with our main group of, like, we're hitting a lot of the groups of people who, I think, again, Ollie as well is, like, an extremely great one to have here as well, because a lot of death games don't do immigrant stuff, which feels very shitty, because that's, like, the perfect metaphor for, going to a capitalist society and from that, because, like, I mean, it's a perfect metaphor for death games specifically, because it's, like, you're signing up for a death game, you're signing up for something that, even though it's probably going to get you killed, or you're going to just be in a bad place for the rest of your life with certain death games where it's not fully death, but still, you're signing up for this. But the circumstances in which you're signing up, it's not like it's a choice, really. You kind of have to. And, like, that is the perfect metaphor for so much immigration stuff, especially when it is like Ollie, where I assume he does not have a green card and he is here illegally and everything like that. That is even a stronger metaphor and everything. So, glad we're having that. I mean, we have the two immigrants here with the North Korean girl as well, but, the immigrant of color is definitely a much stronger thing to do there. So yeah, I wish we had more of that sort of stuff. I was very glad when Animal House opened it up with a lot of that stuff as well, rather than, like, way more just, like, Japan focused, which makes sense for Kaiji, because it is, like, Tei is a very, very specific Japanese group and everything like that. But, and we do get that way later in Kaiji. Two of my favorite characters in Kaiji are immigrants, but again, it's something we get way, way later, whereas I'm glad that Animal World did that from the beginning, and I'm glad the Squid Game has that very prominently as one of the main characters as well. So what's going on with Policeman's brother? Like, he just recently went missing, but he was the winner of this thing from many, many years ago. So what the fuck is going on? Like, why was he still living in that tiny, tiny room? Why did he go missing? What happens to the winners? If they've been doing this every year, if not, probably not multiple times a year, because each of the books did seem to be like, one of these archives for the CCTV footage, or one was for the list of players that won, or here's just the list of players that died, and blah, blah, blah. There's, books on everything. Probably books on the soldiers and stuff, maybe, who knows, but I'm not sure about that. Either way, they're the VIPs. Either way, if these people are winning with billions of won, then how are they not getting found out? So they have to be, you won, here's all the money, and then something else. Whether they kill you or... I don't think it could be just that they kill you. That's too weird. It might be that they send you to another country, or that you become a part of the game, and it's like, well, now you're a VIP, and like... they keep you there by force, but you are a VIP or something. I don't know how they win and then are fine with that. There's got to be something else. The fact that his brother won many years ago and then, he's not finding out about it till just now is very fascinating. Was his brother missing for all these years, or was his brother recently missing? Because that's what it seemed like. But I could be wrong. Could be that he was missing for many years and he's just been looking. Hopefully Sung-woo's conversation with Ollie is definitely going to also help... make him less of a terrible person who's killing everybody. Why am I burping so much? That was a hiccup, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure I'm burping and hiccuping because I haven't eaten anything and I've watched 2 full episodes of Squid Game. Oh, we gotta stop. Okay, we gotta... we gotta stop this. I'm echoing too much. I can't stop. This is a terrible discussion. I'm sorry. Alright, last thing I will say is that Deok-soo is losing control of his group, and that it seems like his group is going to start collapsing very, very fast. Like, next game, I imagine 80% of his players are going to die. It's just going to be like him and one other person. I can't kill me. But yeah, I feel like the vast majority of his group is gonna die next game. I'm very excited to see what next game is. I've already given my guess for that. I've got nothing else. If I have anything else to say, I will say it in the beginning of the next video, because I gotta stop hiccuping. This is terrible. I gotta go eat something. Okay, I will see you guys for the next game. Until then, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, just waiting for it.